What it do, what it do, what it do. I'm here, as a here. I got the Alrighty Then, Ace Ventura chant playing on loop in the background. I think it's hilarious. And it fits the mood, if I must say. So, I'm going to start with I am going to begin with yesterday, the prayer Manthus, shout out to you, he complimented me on eating with chopsticks. Thank you. And I figured I'll share a story about it. So it's going to lead into some other things. However, I'm going to begin with the chopsticks. So my ex-partner introduced me to chopsticks because he would eat sushi a lot, and he showed me how to use them. And I'm a quick learner, but I wasn't too lacked confidence in using them, and I didn't have to use them so much. So I'm looking at the clouds. I think it's rain. I can see rain falling in the distance. You want to see? You can see the rain in the distance. So, yeah, so he showed me how to use them. I lacked confidence. I didn't have to necessarily eat with them often, rarely, because I wasn't eating Japanese food or real authentic Chinese food, which leads me to moving here to Southeast Asia. Is Southeast Asia, so most, if not, well, I can't say all, but most countries, they do use chopsticks, and they do use chopsticks here, but they also use regular silverware. And here is where I became more accustomed to using chopsticks, because story time. And it wasn't actually because of the Thai culture. It was because I had a Chinese student for 1 year, a private student. She was so dope. And but I was working with a traditional Chinese family. The benefits of that were, they didn't just ask me to tutor the child. They didn't ask me, they invited me into the home, and when I would tutor her, it would be in the evening around dinner time. So I was eating dinner with them 3 to 4 nights a week for 1 year. And it was an experience, let me tell you. Everything started out, it was cool. I ate foods that I've never eaten before quite naturally. They were from Hangzhou, China. And it was just beautiful. The girl, my student, she was being raised by her grandparents on her paternal side. And They didn't want her to go to school in China anymore. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna have to work with this. My throat is dry. The weather is dry today. It's dry heat. Even though it's rainy. So yeah. Um she was being raised by her grandparents on the paternal side. They were in their 70s, but they were very agile, very, the Asian culture, they age well. They age accordingly. I feel like they age accordingly, according to how we're actually supposed to age. But, in America, you start aging at 40 and you're trying to figure out what pill regimen you're going to be on. Excuse me, you want to make sure your doctor's in order. Not here, which is another reason why I left the States. I digress. So, yeah, I was eating foods that I've never eaten before, foods that I have eaten before, but cooked and prepared a certain way. So, it was just like invigorating. I loved it. I love food. So, I would come sometimes, and I remember one time I rolled up and there was like, it looked like a basket net with layers, and usually you would use it for, I think, like, you can use it for anything actually, but you hang it up. And I see it sometimes in people's kitchens. They have like the onion on one rack, it's a net, and they have another, like, other vegetables on another rack, or maybe fruits. But when I pulled up, that was outside hanging from the roof of the the awning of the in front of the house, and where you park the cars. And there was chicken on one rack and on one layer, and pork on the other layer, and you could tell it was seasoned and salted, and they were drying it out. And I was like, what's going on here? And, she's explaining to me in her broken English um, what it was. And she's like, yes, next week, teacher, we're going to have that for dinner. And I'm like, I look forward to it. And it was good. It was good. Who knew that? I knew about salted fish, saltfish, ackee and saltfish, or cook up saltfish. I missed that too. Um, yes, I had that. I had mushrooms that I would have never thought to even try, and it was actually fucking good. I've had this dish that it's like fermented, so you can leave it out. You could, after you cook it, you could just leave it out, and they would do that. It was dried plum, Chinese plum, and they made a dish with it, and yo, it was so good. And sometimes it was like simple dishes, and it would blow my mind because it tastes so damn good. Like a cucumber salad with their homemade pepper, like chili peppers and garlic and vinegar. It was so good. And they made a lot of, like, Chinese meals are a multitude of dishes, and they have them in a bowl or a plate in the middle of the table, and you just take your chopsticks and you take a grab at it, whatever you want. And the grandmother knew I really like shrimps, so she would always make sure at least one night of the week there was some type of shrimp, which was very beautiful. I really appreciated that. It was an experience. But back to the chopsticks. They only ate with chopsticks. Yes, they had spoons and forks, but they had very little. It was literally like the set. You know, here you get a set, maybe a set of 4. Here you get a set of 2. That's it. And they had just enough, but it was typically for serving. But other than that, they had metal chopsticks and they had wooden chopsticks. I can't, well, I won't say I can't, but I find it very challenging to eat with the metal chopsticks. I can't grasp too easily, but wooden, I can eat with those. I actually have my own that were made from coconut husk or coconut shell. Yeah. So that's how I learned how to eat with chopsticks. And I actually prefer it when it comes to certain dishes. I prefer to eat with chopsticks, and if I don't have chopsticks to eat with, I prefer to, like, dishes that we would typically eat with a fork, I prefer to eat with a spoon. You know, I found I watched a meme video, I don't know, whatever, and someone was like getting on this girl, she was from Africa, about eating with a spoon, and she was like, well, I'm sorry that you were raised in poverty, with a poverty mindset, to think that you have to eat with a fork because you have to save every kernel of rice, every grain of rice. And I'm like, you know what? She makes fucking sense. She makes sense. Like, why are we eating with a fork? A fork is to stab. So why are we eating rice? Not everybody, but why are people raised to eat rice with a fork? Something to think about. And then I realized that a lot of people eat with I do not want to hear this. I hear some lo-fi. A dream does not become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. Make sure to like and subscribe. Oh. I love lo-fi music. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna talk about that too. Yeah, so eating with chopsticks. Now that family I stayed with for a year, and it had become it became uncomfortable, because when you're invited into someone's home, you start to notice, if you are an observer, you notice the things that are just not right. Some things you just mind your business, because everybody lives differently, yes? But some things just cannot be ignored. And so I noticed that the way they went about things when it comes to raising their granddaughter was pretty toxic. But I also knew, with the knowledge that I have prior and the knowledge that I was accumulating during that time, it's the Chinese culture. They're very strict, especially when it comes to education and dealing with emotions like shame and guilt, and they are avoidant, and you know. So for a long time I was minding my business, you know. I'm like, and the girl would talk to me about it because she wasn't in agreement with what was going on. And I would give her my ear because she didn't have a maternal figure to really talk to. She didn't have anybody to talk to about that type of thing, those type of issues, concerns. She had a mother, but her mother was still in China, and she was being raised by her father, but she expressed, she's like, I'm a girl, he's a man, he doesn't know. And she's right, like, he only knows but so much, right? And she wasn't really allowed to talk to her mother the way that she would have liked to. And in a nutshell, once I got the story from her of why she was in Thailand, like the whole process, they pretty much, oh my gosh. All right. Because I want to convey this with compassion. My student, she had a mother, a father. They were in a relationship, but that didn't work out. And when it stopped working, there were a lot of arguments, a lot of police involvement, and her father's family is more well off than her mother's family. Therefore, he had the upper hand, and he used that through force. And he began raising my student, but not really raising her. The grandparents were, rather the grandmother was, and while he's the breadwinner. And the police involvement became too much, so they brought her to Thailand to avoid any further involvement. And they didn't tell the mother, and the mother didn't know for about a month or two where her child was. And she actually ended up in a mental institution because she was going crazy. And they didn't tell my student that she was coming here and that she was going to stay here, live here, and go to school here. So they traumatized the mother, they traumatized that girl, and nothing was done. So I began spending quite some time during our sessions letting her vent about those things, because she had no one to talk to. And at first I felt a little like I shouldn't do it, but I can handle that. It wasn't because I couldn't handle it, it was just because I was being compensated to teach her English. But then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? not only is she able to vent to someone who actually understands and can empathize and give her some sound advice if needed, but she's communicating in English to me, and she's trying, and it's actually being conveyed properly. Win-win. Yeah. So the grandmother started noticing how her granddaughter was really, like, there was an attachment, and I don't think she liked that too much. So I would tell my student, I'm like, listen, I know you want to vent. I'll give you 5 minutes if need be, but we have to do our lessons. But when I did that, I noticed rebellious behavior, because she understood that her grandmother was the reason why things were changing so much. Her grandmother was really opposed to pretty much any type of love that girl was gonna get, honestly. So then that started happening. It wasn't too comfortable, like, it wasn't comfortable. So then I noticed how I would be very tired, and I would try to give myself like a break, and the grandmother would not be too pleased about me taking a break, like taking a day off and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, this is gonna become a problem. And then one day, and the grandfather, he was alcoholic. He was a fucking alcoholic, and he was abusive. He was toxic. Like, and so what I noticed is everybody was performing. They were performing because they realized that, well, they just felt like they had to perform, whatever. And usually when people feel like they have to perform, they hide in something. And I knew they were hiding something, but I didn't know exactly what. I wasn't sticking my nose into it, but I could see what I could see, and I knew what I knew. And one day, I was having a session with my student, and the grandfather busts in the room, and he's, yelling and screaming in Chinese, and she's responding to him accordingly, but then she just started crying. And when she starts crying, first of all, it was the first time I seen her cry, and I'm like, that was my girl, As first time I see her cry, and she's trying to, there was that cry, like when you have to respond verbally, but and she was trying so hard, and he was like doing like this to her in her face, and like pushing her, and she was, like, she was trying to stand strong. And I knew she wasn't just trying to stand strong for herself. She was trying to stand strong for me, because I know the reasons, but it's just because. And I got up and I was like, no. And I just got in between them, and I just told him, like, I just put my hand up, like, no. And I told her, go sit down. And the grandmother came. She was out walking. They always walk after dinner. And she came, and she is like performing, putting on a performance as if she's protecting her granddaughter. And I'm like, no. Like, I already peeped the bullshit. And when I noticed that she was performing, I was still trying to protect her, because her husband mushed her in the head, and he mushed her in the head and then pushed her. And I was like, yeah, okay, we're not doing all of this. And when she realized that I was protecting, when I was like, this is who I am, she said in Chinese, mind your business. This is what we do. We don't do things how you do in America. And I know that because after everything calmed down, my student explained that she interpreted it for me. And when she said it, she was upset. She was angry. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be here any longer, because people don't like they don't like when you know that something ain't right. They don't like when when you've seen what it is that they was trying to hide. My phone is dying. Please stay with me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, that remind me of the song. Can you woo, woo, woo? Here we go. All right. One moment, please. Yes, I am back. So, yeah. So I know, like, when opportunity is presented to me for me to stand in exactly who I presented myself to be, people don't like it. They don't like it because it reflects to them that they've been performing, and they're like, yo, she's really who I was seeing her to be. So that happened, and things became even more awkward after that. You know, all of a sudden she wanted to know more about my family, my kids, and I'm like, nah, we're not doing all of that. So I would cut those conversations short. But then I also realized, I'm like, she knows more English than she puts off. I don't have time for that. Like, why are you pretending like you don't know English? It takes a lot of work to pretend. And so for some time, I was thinking about, like, how I feel versus what I should be doing. And I came to the point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. You know, the grandfather's an alcoholic, toxic as fuck. The wife don't mind getting her ass beat. And because she don't mind getting her ass beat, she don't mind him beating the shit out of their grandchild, which means she's probably doing it too. And it's an environment that I don't need to be in, even though I can do what I need to do, but I don't need to be in that type of environment. So I made the decision to cut ties. Now, funny thing is, when I made this decision, it was during rainy season last year. It was the beginning of rainy season, and the rain was pretty crazy. It was a lot of flooding, and there was some flooding outside of my home, and I didn't want to drive in the rain, so I messaged the grandmother and I told her I wasn't gonna come today because of the rain, for many reasons because of the rain, and she was upset as usual. And she contacted this mutual woman that we both know, and she reached out to me and asked me, was everything all right? Like, they're not straightforward in the culture, but they straightforward with their family, like being toxic and shit. But when it comes to genuine, just to have a conversation about clarity, they're not straightforward. So she's like, is everything all right? And I'm like, yeah, everything is okay. um, and she was like, if you, grandma's, we call her grandma. Grandma said if you want to work less hours, you can. And I was like, I'm very aware that I can do that. I don't need permission. And even that let me know that, people, they think that they own you just because they're compensating you for a service. It becomes like possessiveness, and I ain't got time for that. So I said, I'm very aware of that, and that is actually not the case. But when I go back to teach Cece, I'm gonna have a conversation with her, and then and I think the grandmother expected me to like just divulge whatever information that she really wanted to know. And she said, oh, you can tell me and I'll tell grandma. I said, no, I'm gonna have a conversation with her face to face. And the grandmother messaged me and said, I think what did she say? I don't think you have enough time. You seem very busy to teach Cece, so I'm gonna get another teacher. And I was like, I wish you well in all of your endeavors, and I'm gonna miss Cece. And she was like, oh, but you could still come for dinner. And I said, I don't think that'll happen, because we were supposed to have a conversation face to face, and you don't want that to happen, so I'm not coming for dinner. She's like, teacher, I don't mean anything by this. Yeah, okay. I just said, okay. Left it at that. So that story leads me to something called the domino effect. This is when I began saying no to everything that didn't align with who I was becoming and where I was trying to align to. So when that happened, I was sad because I was gonna miss the girl, for a whole entire year. I was with a family and teaching this girl. I was sad, but I was also happy too. There's grief and growth. There's grief and letting things go, but there's also joy, because that was 4 nights a week, 4 nights, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I was tired, and I was like, I'm gonna sleep. I get to be home. I'm gonna rest, like intentionally rest. I'm going to plan meals for myself, and I'm gonna cook. Like, I began what I didn't know at the time was romanticizing my life, being here in Thailand, like not having that typical 9 to 5 busy schedule, and just living intentionally. So it began. So I was sleeping, I was resting. There was a lot of like fluctuations of emotions as per usual. Like, I be going through it, man. I feel very deeply. So I was going through it. And then I don't remember what month that was, unfortunately, but in October of last year, I decided to join a gym. actually changed a lot for me too, because I needed a way to release all of the emotions that I was holding on to, that my body remembers, that I was just needed to release a lot. And I was like, you know what? Men all the time, they be like, you know, the girl left them, or their mama died, whatever the case may be, whatever touched their emotional body. When that's no more, they go to the gym. And so I'm like, why women don't do this? And I'm like, fuck women. Not in that way, but like, let me think about myself. So why don't I just try and do this and go to the gym? I'm not looking to be buff. I'm not looking to be all like, you know, I'm blessed with that regardless, but just to see how my body operates in the gym and build strength, discover myself, you know, in that aspect. So I did that, and it helps. It definitely helps. And then the ripple effect happened. Like, I just started continuously saying no to what wasn't right for me, even though maybe if it involved making money. No, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do it. I'm tired. If it's meant to be, I'll have another opportunity to do it. If not, so be it. Rest is productive. Rest is so productive. And I don't come from that life of rest, knowing that rest is productive. I've been going when I was living in the States. And only until I came here was I able to rest, truly rest. Even though I work, I'm still able to rest, truly rest. So that I made a truth-based decision, and that led me to reading my notes. That led me to shaking the foundations of false attachments. And boy, that wasn't easy, because unfortunately I had to continuously say no to the people that I love. And that's not it's not an unfortunate thing. It's just not, it just doesn't feel good all the time. And that's okay too. Because sometimes saying yes feels worse than saying no, you know? And that helped me to realign, which is why I'm where I'm at right now. So I stopped romanticizing disrespect, whether from my son, my ex, my family. I no longer tolerate sweet words without matching action. I detach my identity from sacrifice. I realized that loving someone doesn't mean erasing yourself for them. I refuse to stay confused. Confusion kept me complacent, compliant. Clarity makes me powerful, and now it's here. Other false roles are beginning to collapse, which is why I'm in a situation with my son now. I'm preparing to move, whether physically, emotionally, spiritually, but I think it's in all areas. There's a shift coming. The dreams, the rest, the unfolding, they're all signs. Like, I'm having vivid dreams. I'm having I tell you, it is so vivid. And I'm lucid dreaming. I'm in the dream, either sitting down or standing, like, let me see what's about to happen, because I'm really in this dream and people are telling me their secrets, or I'm seeing how people perceive things that are actually happening in my waking life, which is allowing me to know how to pivot and move. And it's so true, like, it's crazy. And I'm getting looks from people like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe she responded that way. Because people don't know that I know I'm being given the answers. Because I'm out here moving, like, not out here, but just out here in this world, moving genuinely. I'm not trying to fuck people over. I'm giving people the bare minimum, if not more, of what a human being deserves. Therefore, I'm gifted high discernment, knowledge in ways that people don't have the space to receive, because the world is so loud, you know. So the most powerful domino effect that has occurred has been my self-respect. It's the one that knocks down everything that isn't rooted in truth, love, and mutual recognition. It says, I'm not here to be confused anymore. I'm here to be clear, even if that clarity is painful, even if it means letting go. And that's the stage that I'm in, literally. I'm literally in that stage. I don't see the full picture yet, but it's okay. I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering. I'm not causing the collapse. I'm initiating the rebuilding of what needs to be. I'm really I'm really doing the work to create a sturdy foundation for the stability of my lineage, not just me. I don't just have myself in mind. Like, I think about my grandchildren. I think about my great-grandchildren. And it just so happens, if I never have grandchildren, at least I show my children that there's another way to live. You don't have to live according to societal standards. That's okay, you know, that's enough. The domino effect. So, when I go through these things, I used to feel shameful and guilty because it didn't seem like a lot of people was going through what I would go through. And first of all, I shouldn't be comparing. That's number one. Number two, I believe it was true. A lot of people don't go through what I go through. And not just simply because we all have different lives and we're different, but a lot of people are not choosing themselves. A lot of people are not choosing they're not chosen to break the chains of what was, starting with themselves and the lineage. They're choosing the same toxic patterns and they're looping in it, and they're passing that down to their children, grandchildren, as if it's a gift, and it's actually a fucking curse. and I refuse to do it, which is again why I feel what I be feeling. Like, this shit hurts, man. It literally hurts. It's not a mental, it's not just mental, it's not just emotional, it's not psychological, it's everything. And I feel it through my body, I feel it through my bones. I even think I be feeling it on a DNA cellular level. It hurts. It is not easy. And that's why I make the videos that I make. I don't know how else to give it. This is just raw and uncut, you know. This shit is crazy. But one thing I do know, I'm not the only one doing it. There's a tarot channel I watch. Her name is Queen Cup. She goes through it. And she explains that, like, she's like, I feel it. My heart is cracking open. It hurts. So I can't show up for you guys. I have to show up for myself. Like, she's so raw and pure. I love her. But she still gets back up. She explains what happened while she was gone for so long. She gets back up and you can see it. She's okay. Like, I love that. And I do the same. It's just, I'm feeling it. I'm fucking feeling it. They even, once in a while it creeps up, but before when I started really digging deep and doing the work, I used to think about, like, what if I just let this all go and just play along how everybody else is playing along, because this shit is not easy and I don't want to be alone. I don't want, like, I want what I had, but that's falsehood, and my soul will not allow me to do it. My soul won't allow me to do it, and I had to accept that this is a part of my purpose. And I just try to align with the joy within the pain and let the pain teach me so that I can release what needs to be released and open myself up to receive the joy that I deserve. I felt so much pain in my life. I'm still continuing to at times. But there was a time where I felt pain and I thought I was gonna die from the pain that I felt, literally. You know that deck, the unknown, the Three of Cups? I think it's the Three of Cups. I have it. Hold on. I'm gonna find it too. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Okay. No, it's not the unknown. I'm gonna find it. I think that's what this helped me. Yo, I used to, oh, here it is. It's the Three of Swords. This card. I used to feel this, literally. It was so painful. And even looking at it now, I'm noticing. I'm not noticing. I'm just so grateful that I was able to, like, I noticed my strength. I got myself out of that, which is why I love lo-fi music. Um, it found me. It found me on YouTube, and it made me feel held by the divine. I would play it. I would just let it play and be in my room. I would turn on I had Christmas lights in my room. I would turn on my Christmas lights. I miss that version of myself. I really do. She did the damn thing, man, because she knew I had to get here. And I'm so thankful to her. We have 51 minutes. 51:08. That's a long time. But the Three of Swords. You can get yourself out of here. I'm telling you. The strength. By exemplifying the Eight of Cups. Alright, I'm done. Yo, let me tell you. The past. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Yo, I'm out.